Alright, let's talk about the brotherly shove, also known as the Tush push. It's this play you see on the screen. The Eagles ran it 3 times in this game against the Rams. This was the first 3rd down and 1. As you see, really a dominant play. They're able to get over, easily get Hurts past the first down marker. The Eagles have converted on this somewhere around 95% of the time they've lined up to do it, going back to these past 2 seasons. And it's gotten some controversy as people are wondering, should this be an illegal play? I put up a poll in the community tab section of this YouTube channel. Should the brotherly shove be banned? And most people say no. 70% say no, but there's still 30% that are saying yes, this should be an illegal play. So it's definitely controversial. There are people on either side talking about it. What I do find fascinating, though, is I read the comments as well, just curious as to why people felt one way or the other. I feel like a lot of people that were saying that it shouldn't be banned were kind of responding and saying, I don't get why people say it's unfair. It's not unfair for reasons X, Y, and Z. I didn't really see anyone that said that it should be banned saying that it was unfair. That's not an argument I've seen on this channel. Maybe in other places people are saying that. I do think people are saying that it's an incredibly overpowered play. That's something I've heard a lot. And so let's talk about an example where it didn't work. Right here, I've highlighted, this was in a Tampa Bay game. I've highlighted, number 92 there for Tampa Bay. I believe that's 92. I can't see the number clearly. I believe that's Will Goldson, though, the longtime interior defensive lineman for Tampa Bay, who, he's going to be the key guy here. Watch him essentially hop over one, because that's how they do it, right? They go very low, the offensive line does. He's able to time the snap and hop over the defensive lineman. Again, keep in mind, this is in slow motion. It kind of looks like the Matrix a little bit, the way he's able to pull that off. He gets over to Jalen Hurts and has him stopped at about the 1.5, 2-yard line, right around that area. However, even with that, and even with Tampa Bay, other players coming in, it still nearly works. Now, this play is a little bit different because Dallas Goedert actually pulled Jalen Hurts, which is a penalty. You're not allowed to pull a guy like that. You can push, but not pull. So that, that almost never gets called, but it is a penalty. So maybe you could just put a little asterisk on that. Again, it's really hard to see that in real time, though, when there's so much, chaos going on. But it's also kind of worth noting that I also don't know how much that pull was the main factor there. And Hurts still nearly got the first down, even with a defensive lineman timing the snap count perfectly and jumping over the line. It still kind of worked. Like, the main reason why it didn't work was because they were at, the 2-yard line. This comment was in one of the, this was in the comment section of that poll that I talked about earlier. People just whine and want it banned because it's unstoppable, then put more big guys in the box and stop it. And I think I disagree with these types of comments. I do, because while I do agree that it isn't unstoppable, I think it's nearly unstoppable. I think it's, again, like 95% unstoppable. You're very rarely going to be able to do it. And even a team like Tampa Bay, who stopped them that once, here on the very next play, 4th down and goal, because they got stopped last time, and watch what happens. As you see, Philadelphia is able to still make that work. And I mean, you can't argue that Tampa Bay doesn't have enough big guys in the middle there, right? That's not, there's issues you can talk about with the Tampa Bay team. That is not one of them. This is considered a big strength for Tampa Bay, is their big guys that are in the box. They were fully aware of what was happening and just weren't able to come close to stopping it. Now, again, some people will argue, hey, there are ways to stop it. You cannot get into this position to begin with. Don't get a 4th down and goal at the 1-yard line. And that's true. A great way to stop the tush push is to make sure that you never give them an opportunity to do it in the first place. That is a way you can make this happen. I also understand some Philadelphia Eagles fans being a little bit defensive of this situation, because it's true. It's not the Eagles' fault. The Eagles did a smart thing. They realized, hey, here's a way that we can make the quarterback sneak more effective. Quarterback sneaks in general are already incredibly effective. They already work a very large percentage of the time. So having this play, which just works a little bit, better, it's, what they should be doing. They should be innovating. They should be thinking of new things. I give credit to Nick Sirianni. And, also, it is worth mentioning, the Eagles are a team that is uniquely able to pull this thing off, even compared to other teams, right? To have a really good offensive line. People have brought up Jalen Hurts, is the fact how big he is and everything. I don't really think he does a lot on these brotherly shove plays. I mean, it does a little, but I think it is largely the shove and the offensive line when it comes to a play like this. Maybe, I'm sure it helps a little bit to have him being big, but there's only so much you're doing as a quarterback on these plays. Usually it's more so picking the right gap than being big. And, again, they've done it enough times now. They're a well-oiled machine. They know how to do it. The Eagles deserve credit. And one thing I would say right off the bat is I think it would be insane for them to ban it during the season. Like, I don't think that's something that they should do. Because that wouldn't be fair to Philadelphia. They built this roster with the idea in mind that they could pull off this play this season. So you got to keep it for the rest of this year no matter what. That's what you have to do. To me, I don't think it's unfair. I think it's a fair play. It is football. You shouldn't, be able to look at it and say, oh, this is an, illegal type play, in the same way that, I don't know. I can't even really think of a great example of something that's illegal because of fairness, but, it's a football play. It is. It's not an unfair play, and while it's nearly unstoppable, there have been teams who have stopped it. Also, the Giants ran a play and had multiple players get injured, and that created some controversy. People were saying, some people have said, should this be illegal because of the danger of it? There is a similar play on a field goal, which is different, but, there's similarities that has been made illegal because they feel it's dangerous. But I don't really think that that's the case here either. I don't see it as a high likelihood of injury, at least as it's going right now. It's maybe something to pay attention to, but a couple other comments I saw on that community tab actually made the most sense to me. This comment was, I hope defenses figure it out because it's not fun to watch, in my opinion. This I totally agree with. I don't think it's a fun play to watch. I think it's way more exciting seeing even just a halfback handoff where you can see the play develop. You know who has the ball, you know what's going on, and you know if it's a conversion or not, or specifically a passing play, which for my money, is the most exciting play. And this comment, I think, actually phrases it really well, which, is interesting. I'm relatively new to football, only really been following since the start of last season, so there are many rules I flat out don't know about yet, and I wouldn't know if there is an elegant way to get rid of the play. My problem with the play is not about it being unstoppable either, but I just dislike plays where you can't see the ball. To me, that's a perfect example of exactly why I kind of agree and think they probably should ban the play. The comparison I make is in MLB, in baseball. It reminds me of the shift, where, teams started, it used to be that you would shift maybe once or twice, a week, and then it became the thing where, in a given game, you're shifting, every batter, you're having players play way over from where they used to play, and the issue with that is that a lot of ground balls would end up being turned into outs instead of being, singles, and it was making the game a lot more boring, so they banned the shift. They made it illegal defense to do certain things, and I think baseball has really benefited greatly from decisions like that. I think you see a lot more balls in play, and it's been a lot more exciting to watch. I feel very similar to this. At the end of the day, football is an entertainment product, in my opinion. That's what it is, first and foremost. The NFL is meant to be entertaining. Seeing a team line up for a play that has a 95% success rate going up there, and then you don't even see really if it was a first down or not. Sometimes you can, but a lot of times you can't. A lot of times you have to wait for the ref to come in and make a call, which isn't exciting. It's just not an interesting play, and I do think that you could probably just get rid of it in the offseason for that reason. I personally would be, saying that maybe just get rid of the quarterback sneak altogether feels like a fair way to do things. And when people say you can't get rid of a play, the NFL has dozens of plays that you can't run. They have a ton of different regulations in the playbook for things you're not allowed to do. You can't throw to an offensive lineman, right? That's just one example. But there's tons of those types of things that they've made illegal over the decades and over the century that football has been a sport. You can get rid of plays and make plays illegal. They've done that all the time. So that's my verdict. It's not unfair. Credit to Philadelphia. They don't deserve any blame. They're being very smart, and they deserve all the credit, I think. But, the league, I think this offseason has to say, hey, this isn't that interesting. I mean, let's be honest. If it was 4th down and goal, game on the line, Eagles are down 4 against Kansas City in the Super Bowl, trying to, get revenge, and they just do the brotherly shove and get the touchdown and they win. Maybe some people like that. I wouldn't. And again, Going back to the poll one last time, one interesting thing I find is that a lot of people were either arguing why it should be banned or why it shouldn't be banned. I didn't really hear anyone argue why it should exist. Why is the rules better because this play is allowed? Why is the product of the NFL better because the play is allowed? I guess just simply due to the logic of you shouldn't just ban plays, and people like the idea of being able to do as many things as possible. But at the end of the day, to me, that is how you should view it. Is not, is there enough reason to ban a play, but should the play exist or should the play not exist? I haven't really heard any benefits as to why it makes the NFL more interesting to watch for this play to be allowed, unless you just really like the play, which I suppose some people do, but I'm not as big of a fan personally, just as as a watcher of the game. So that's my perspective on it. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.